Good morning. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wellness Wednesday. I hope you're having a fabulous morning. I just, if I sound a little sniffly, first of all, it's that time of year. Second of all, I've had some powerful messages this morning, and I generally come to Wellness Wednesday with some bullet points, not a script, but some bullet points that kind of keep me on track, some notes. I may have veered a little bit left or right of that today. Maybe I'm jumping over the bullet points, belly crawling under, I don't know, but, hopefully, even if I sound like I'm rambling or get a little off track, hopefully you will get something useful out of today's Wellness Wednesday. Good morning, Miss Stacy. So if you follow my page on a regular basis, I hope you enjoyed last week's video on pre-holiday declutter for your mental health. If you are just stumbling on my page, my name is Donna. I'm a mom, a nana. Let me just say that not only am I a nana, but my grandson's 9th birthday is today, and I'm super excited about that. In any case, if you're just stumbling on my page, I'm a nana, I'm a girlfriend, I'm a mom, I'm a jazzerciser, line dancer, activity enthusiast. I don't know, fitness guru is a little bit lofty. I started Wellness Wednesday because it was on my heart, very seriously on my heart, to share my journey, in battling with depression and anxiety, at different levels of my life. And I have learned over time that peer support is fantastic, and that we learn a lot from sharing our stories with each other, our tips, our tricks, the things that have worked, the things that haven't, our whys, all of those things. And that's why I started Wellness Wednesday. So even though Facebook likes to hide comments, questions, etc., while I'm live, I encourage you to ask a question, share your tips, whatever. Just keep it relevant to the topic we're discussing, and keep it positive. And if I don't see them or respond to you when I'm on, it's because Facebook didn't show me, and I will respond after the fact. So before I get going, I also want to give an update on YouTube. As I've mentioned several times, back in, February, June, somewhere in the first half of the year, it all kind of blurs together for me. Facebook stopped keeping live videos on the platform for more than 30 days. So they started deleting anything that was 30 days old or more. Fortunately, I had already been downloading my videos and had to catch up and download the rest of them before they started deleting. And sometimes I make references to videos, and I want to be able to link those videos in the comments so that you can see them if you did not. So while I was on my school break, which ended Monday officially, I got the rest of my videos uploaded to YouTube. So I now have a YouTube channel. I didn't pull it up. I think it's just Donna. If you get on YouTube and you search Donna Bidlack, I think you'll find me. I'll drop that link in the comments. So if you're not on Facebook all the time, you don't want to miss these, or you want to be able to go back and watch them at your leisure, kind of on demand, if you will, you can find me on YouTube, subscribe to my channel. But just like Facebook, feel free to ask questions, drop comments, even though these are, by the time they get on YouTube, they're already recorded, and they're no longer live. Feel free to drop questions, comments, whatever, because those things apparently have the same impact. I've been watching the YouTube channel, and the videos that are getting more views and that are getting comments and likes are actually doing rated higher up, and they're being seen by more people. So if it's a video that you especially like, that speaks to you, that you think will help somebody else like it, and comment on it just like you would on Facebook, so that others are more likely to see it. So that's my YouTube update for today. All videos are uploaded, previous videos, and now each day when I'm done going live, I will be uploading that day's video to YouTube as well. So if it's something you just don't have time to watch right now, because I know I can run on a little bit, then follow the YouTube channel, and you can go back and watch those videos at any time, even after Facebook has deleted them at 30 days. But they do stay on the Facebook platform for 30 days. All right, that's enough of that. So in the process of uploading all of my previous videos, a lot of reflection started, a lot of reflection about where I've been in my journey. And fall tends to be the time of year that I do a lot of that anyway. So sometimes I surprise myself when I'm smacked in the face with how far I've come, or sometimes even how far I was at a given moment in time that I didn't recognize how far I was at that point. And what I mean by how far I was not in followers, was not in anything like that, but more just in my personal growth journey. And I hope that you find Wellness Wednesday as an opportunity to kind of go on my journey with me and maybe help branch off onto your own, or maybe these Wellness Wednesday videos help you feel like I'm on your journey with you. Whatever the case may be, if it's helpful, that's kind of the point. But sometimes I do get kind of smacked in the face with how far I've come, or where I was at a certain point that I didn't recognize. And having to review these videos was no different, because it brought up a lot of stuff. Because sometimes I did good when I downloaded, and in the descriptions I put exactly what it was about, and I remembered it and I knew what it was about. And other times the titles were kind of ambiguous, and I had to be like, what was this video? So I had to listen to it so that I could write a description for YouTube. So that was a huge reflection journey for me, and I'm glad to have it done, but that doesn't mean I won't go back and listen to them myself from time to time. All right. So like I said, fall is a weird time of year for me anyway. I tend to get reminiscent and a little bit wanderlusty. I'm not sure that's actually a word. I think I just made it up. You're probably not going to find it in the dictionary. And it might be because I grew up in Michigan. Even though I was Florida born, I grew up in Michigan. So when it finally starts to cool down a little bit here, it seems to just be a catalyst for a lot of, like I said, memory, reminiscing, just, like I said, recognition of where I've been versus where I am now. And I feel like I'm not the only one that this happens to, whether you grew up north or not. And so it seemed like a great topic for today. So watching these videos reminded me that every season of life, every season of my life, good, bad, or awkward, good, bad, or ugly, has served a purpose. Every single season. But none of them were meant to last forever. If we stay too long in our old seasons, we risk missing the beauty of what's unfolding right in front of us. And that's kind of what today's episode is about, is learning to honor each season without getting stuck in it, and more importantly, to take the lessons that each season has to offer and run with them. Or walk if you're not into running. I get that. So let's talk about the past for a minute. No matter how good or bad our past was, it has shaped who we are today. Like it or not, it has shaped who we are today. Even if we don't necessarily always like the person we are today, there are good things about us that we can find if we're looking, and the things that have happened to us in the past have shaped those. I often say that sometimes the people, the teachers in my life, the people that were supposed to be molding me and shape me, oftentimes I learned more about what not to do as an adult than what I learned about what to do. And it's ironic because we're studying some theories of modeling and stuff right now in my current class that just started on Monday. But it's true. Not only, a lot of these theories initially only talked about learning how to behave. And they didn't necessarily specify that sometimes we learn how not to behave from our teachers, whoever they are. And teachers come in all forms and disguises. That's a quote I love by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. And it's true. And they are in every season. Teachers are in every season. So like I said, if we stay too long in one season, in an old season, we risk missing the beauty of what's unfolding right in front of us. And sometimes we get stuck replaying old messages, regrets, or what ifs. Because let's face it, sometimes our bad experiences, the things bad that happened in the past, tend to shape us more than the good things. And especially if we're children and we have adverse childhood experiences, those things stand out sometimes as our only memories, and we don't necessarily always remember the great stuff that happened. So, like I said, sometimes we get stuck replaying old mistakes, regrets, what ifs, and sometimes we even hold on to what others have done. Lord knows I'm guilty of that. And that's something huge that's changed for me. Before my mindset shift, I spent a lot of time ruminating over people who wronged me, situations that were unfair, people or chances that I felt like I'd lost. After my shift, I truly came to appreciate everything that I learned from those events, those people, etc. And I understood that good, bad, or indifferent, however they felt at the time, that each one of those taught me something, and each one of those shaped who I am today. They shaped and guided my journey, kind of like an internal GPS, if you will. So, just a little nerd fact, because you know I'm not going to do this without some nerd facts. You know, I like to back things up with a little bit of research. Research shows that rumination, or over focusing on the past, increases depression. In fact, some have said that the underlying theme of depression is rumination, and reflection and reframing those things helps to build resilience. So now let's move forward a little bit. We're gonna skip right into the future, okay? Just follow me here for a little bit. The future is full of hope. It's full of goals. It's full of possibilities. No matter how much time we think we do or don't have left, okay? But the future also triggers anxiety. And it's most often because we're trying to control the future. We don't want the future to look like the past, right? We want to know what's going to happen. We want to know how it's going to turn out. I don't know. Raise your hand if you think there's nobody on this earth that wants to know what's going to happen more than I do, okay? More than you do. It's just true. We want to control that. We want to know. We want to be in our comfort zone, and in our comfort zone, that means we want to know what's going to happen before it does so we can prepare for it. But like rumination over the past is tied to depression, anxiety is tied to worrying about the future and trying to control the future. And that's generally the source of anxiety, or trying to control the things we don't know. We don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know how it's going to go. And again, what it's gonna look like, how it's gonna go, means we're talking about the future here. It's important to plan. It's important to plan for the future, but we can't live in a place that hasn't happened yet. And if you've heard me talk about rehearsing 58,000 different unique scenarios of a conversation or a run-in with somebody so that we have responses for each and every one of them, no matter what comes up, then you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about when that's us trying to control what we think is going to happen. Chances are, out of those 58,000 scenarios, those conversations, those run-ins, whatever, they never go like we expect. They never go like we plan. And it's continuous proof that we cannot control what's going to happen. We can only control how we respond to it. So like I said, it's important to plan, but we can't live in a place that hasn't happened, or a place or a time that hasn't happened yet. We can prepare, but we have to let it happen. And we have to be prepared for the fact that it may not go the way we think it's going to go. Good morning, Mr. Rick. So again, a little nerd nugget for you. Studies show that having hope and having forward-thinking goals improves motivation and resilience, but that overly rigid, and get ready for this word because it's one of my favorites and I've talked about it before, overly rigid expectations increase stress. Expectations increase a lot of things. And I have a video for that too. And now that everything's on YouTube, even though it's older, I can drop that link in the comments so that you can get some context on what I'm talking about when I say, you've heard me say before that expectations cause a lot of problems. It's one of those things that get us in trouble. And it has a lot to do with that worry and anxiety over the future. So my challenge for you in this respect, and I missed my challenge about the past. So let me go back to that for a minute. On the past, I challenge you to honor your past by identifying something you're hanging on to that has a lesson you should cling to instead. Instead of the event, the person, whatever, cling to the lesson, okay? Because when we stop fighting our past and start asking, what was this season here to teach me? It literally changes everything. So now, back to the future. Little movie reference, little Easter egg there. My challenge to you on the future is to set light goals that you can move toward, without gripping to them so tightly that you forget to enjoy the journey. Okay. And so instead of I have to have X accomplished by New Year's Day, we're not even going to go with New Year's or New Year's resolutions or anything like that just now. Instead of I have to have X accomplished by New Year's, try for, where'd it go? I just lost it. Try for the rest of this year, I want to create more calm mornings. So try a lighter goal that involves habit changes, that maybe, I know SMART goals are all about setting things that are time sensitive, but if you're not in the habit of setting goals and you don't want to focus too much on the future, then some of these lighter goals that are more related to habits and lifestyle versus specific things are sometimes helpful. Sometimes they're more helpful than the goals about the specific things. So again, instead of I have to have X accomplished by New Year's, try for the rest of this year, I want to create more calm mornings, or I want to, build a new positive habit. Something a little lighter, something that's, that doesn't involve such a grip or focus on the future, so that you can actually enjoy the present. And that's what we're going to talk about now. We're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the present. The present is where life is happening now. And unfortunately, we tend to miss it because we're laser focused on yesterday or tomorrow. So I'm going to try to get through this little nugget that I added because I've had a very powerful morning and because it's my grandson's birthday. I'm going to try to get through this without getting emotional. If I do, I'm sorry. But it's real to me. So what I mean by when we're laser focused on the past or the future, we tend to miss what's unfolding in front of this. So not long after my grandson was born, the situation was such that I needed to move back into my house with them to help with finances and, child care and in general. And at the time, it wasn't in my plan. It wasn't in that rigid expectation of what my future was going to look like going forward. Of course, in that moment, not a whole lot was in my plan. And so I found myself frustrated a lot because I felt like my routine was off kilter. Like I couldn't do the things I had planned to do because there was a crying baby at 4:00 in the morning, or because my daughter needed help watching my grandson at a given time of night. And don't get me wrong, I loved my grandson. I love him now. I loved my daughter. I love her now. They are probably some of the best gifts I've ever been given. And I say some, next to like my salvation, and the gift of my life. So, unfortunately, one of the things that I think I missed, because I also find myself often wishing that I was in a position to have more resources to do more for others, including my daughter, my grandson, my son-in-law, my granddaughter. And then I'm often reminded about this time of my life, this amazing couple of years where I had an opportunity to use resources that we normally don't think about. We think about financial resources usually when we talk resources. That I had this opportunity in my life to use my personal resources, my God-given gifts, to provide a safe, supportive, empathetic space for my daughter and my grandson to flourish in, and to get a good foothold on this new part of their lives. For him, the new life, and for her, the new life as a mother. But at the time, I was so caught up in what I perceived to be the unplanned inconvenience of a lot of it, that even though I did always enjoy my time with them, I didn't look at it always for what it was, because I was too busy ruminating about what goal I thought I was going to hit by then that I wasn't hitting because it was delayed, not because it was gone, but because it was delayed, or what I thought the next year or 2 years was going to look like versus what I used to think they looked like, versus my expectations. Does that make sense? And I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm not ashamed to say that sometimes I didn't appreciate what was in front of me at the time because I was so far inside of my head, because I think we've all been there. I think that, I have friends that are taking care of their parents They didn't expect to be there. They're frustrated a lot in the moment with what's going on. And then they learn afterwards, they realize that that was a precious time that they were given, that they were gifted to spend a different level of time or quality time with their parents, whoever they're taking care of, their family member. It may not have been real convenient or seemed real convenient at the time, because they missed appreciating it for what it was in that time, because they were so busy with this wasn't what it was supposed to look like, or, I lost this opportunity because of what was happening and I can't get that back. You see where I'm going with this? I don't know that I'm articulating it really well, but my point here is that we tend to miss out on the most precious things because we're so sidetracked with what we thought should have been or what we thought was going to happen that we lost out on. When we have unique and precious opportunities right in front of us that are unfolding in front of us, that we sometimes don't fully appreciate. So that's what I'm talking about. So because I'm me, I had to look up how to pronounce this person's name. But there's I think a Chinese philosopher named Lao Tzu. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I did, in fact, look it up because if I'm not sure, I want to say it right. I don't want to butcher anybody's names. I realize this philosopher isn't watching, but still I want to say it right. And he's known or widely credited for the quote, if you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present. And when we focus on what's happening right in front of us, we're not worrying about the future. We're not ruminating over the past, and we tend to find more appreciation and gratitude and therefore peace in what's unfolding in front of us. So again, one more little nerd nugget for you. Mindfulness practices reduce stress hormones and improve mood. True story. I've experienced it. I recently went over a week without stopping to meditate. I meditated yesterday, whole different day. So mindfulness practices reduce stress hormones and improve mood. Mindfulness, that could be a lot of things. It can be yoga. It can be journaling. It can be mindful eating where you're just, taking extra time rather than rushing through or inhaling it while you're working, taking extra time to appreciate the color and the flavor and the texture of your food. There's a lot of things about mindfulness, but it's the best way to honor your life by being here for the moment you're in instead of ruminating over the past or freaking out, being anxious or worried or trying to control the future. So my challenge to you in terms of the present, and I'll repeat these in just a minute, is to practice micro-presence. You don't have to have a whole entire mindful day. I'm not entirely sure that's possible for anyone short of maybe some monks. But my challenge would be to practice micro-presence. Notice a smell, notice a sound, or something beautiful right in front of you. Falling leaves, fall leaves, candles, quiet moments, sky, etc. I used to whine that we didn't have enough fall color because I grew up in Michigan, and let's face it, Florida is never going to look like Michigan in the fall. It's just not going to happen. But instead, what you'll find is that when I do notice trees like the one actually in the neighbor's backyard behind us, so I see it through my trees, and I posted it in my stories the other day. One tree that's kind of got a yellow-orange tint to the leaves, you know what? That's enough for me, because instead of focusing on the fact that all the other trees are not changing color like they would up north, I'm laser focused on appreciating this one tiny tree that's like, hey, it's fall. Let's party, y'all. So the micro presence, or practice micro presence, micro mindfulness, whatever. To practice micro presence, notice a smell, a sound, something beautiful right in front of you. Leaves, candles, quiet moments, sky, the harvest moon last night. Or find gratitude. One of my favorite words. Find gratitude in something each day that isn't past or future related. Because that's essentially the same thing, if you think about it, as practicing mindfulness. It's finding gratitude in something today, finding beauty, appreciating something today positive that's happening or even negative, but if you're fortunate enough to see the lesson unfolding inside of it, and find that gratitude and focus on that, to be present in the moment, even for just a hot minute. 5 minutes, like I said, 5 minutes of mindfulness, gratitude, whatever, can literally change the game for you. So, just to repeat those challenges, I challenge you, and please feel free to drop a comment, send me a message, whatever it is you found. If you're willing to share with everybody to give people some ideas. But these are my challenges for you today. On the past, identify something you're hanging on to that has a lesson you should be clinging to instead. Because when we stop fighting our past and start asking, what does this season have to teach me? It changes everything. The future challenge was to set light goals that you can move forward without gripping them so tightly that you forget to enjoy the journey. So instead of, I have to have X accomplished by the end of the year, try for the rest of this year, I want to create more calm mornings, or fill in the blank, okay? And then on the present, I challenge you to practice micro mindfulness or micro presence, micro gratitude, whatever you want to call it. And notice a smell or a sound or something beautiful that's right in front of you, that's happening in front of you, that you can be grateful for, that you can find beauty in or appreciation, that isn't past or future related. And then here are the things, as I wrap up, here are the things that I want you to remember. Every single season of your life has mattered. Whether you look at it with disdain, whether, I have lots in my life that I used to look at as poor me, woe is me. This happened to me. It shouldn't have happened. It wasn't fair. That person was mean. I was bullied, whatever. So I can look at it that way, or I can be like, you know what? When I had to face a similar personality type as an adult, I dealt with it better and I dealt with it differently, and I was more resilient because of what happened when I was a child. When we can find gratitude in those things instead of rumination, instead of sadness, we are on a healing journey. Music is one of my favorite metaphors for this, because all of my life, my music tastes have been impacted by the people I've been exposed to and whatever music they exposed to me. And some of that music was just music that I kind of took into my collection and enjoyed. And I have a cool memory about the person that introduced me to it, or maybe I don't have any memory about how I got introduced to it, and it's just part of my musical personality. But then other times there are songs that were very closely associated with someone that I cared for, someone that I lost, very strongly associated with a time that was very challenging for me. And I go long periods of time, or I used to go long periods of time, where when I heard those songs, I would just kind of relive it all over again. I would just turn into a sniveling mess. One of my favorite things now, since my mindset shift, has been that a lot of those songs, because they're all in my collection, I have them all on I don't listen to streaming music. I listen to my personal collection that's on my phone. So when those songs come up, one of my favorite things and one of my favorite signs that I've grown and that I've changed my mindset and that I'm looking at things differently and of how far I've come from those seasons, but yet still how important those seasons are, is that I can listen to those songs and I don't feel sadness. I don't feel anger. I can listen to those songs now and appreciate them for the time of my life or whatever lesson that they represented. So, every season of your life has mattered. The hard ones, the healing ones, the quiet ones, they all matter, and they've all molded you into what you are today. But none of them were meant to last forever. None of them. Our seasons are constantly changing. And the beauty of the seasons of you is that you are always evolving, and every change is proof that you are still becoming. All of those seasons matter. No matter how much you think you hate them right now, or they were unfair, or things might have been different. If you appreciate any part of who you are now, know that every single one of those seasons shaped that. Find the lessons so that you can run with those, because that's really what we need to get out of those seasons, is the lessons, so that we can run with them and apply them to each next season. So, in the immortal words of Rafiki from Lion King, you gotta put your behind in your past. I think it was Rafiki. Maybe it was Timon. One of them said, you gotta put your behind in your past. Might not have been Rafiki, might have been Timon, now that I think about it. If you can't remember, look it up, or maybe we need to watch Lion King again and be reminded of the circle of life. But in any case, remember that your seasons matter, and that everything has a lesson. Teachers come in all forms and disguises, as Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross said. And every single one of those experiences, those lessons, they shaped who we are now. They shape how we interact with others, good, bad, or indifferent. And some of those lessons we have to keep learning from until we figure it out. So, sorry, I saw a bird and I was hoping it was a hummingbird. We haven't seen one in a few days. All right, with that said, I'm wrapping it up. I hope you found this helpful. I hope you found something in here that resonated with you, and inspired you to start looking at things different. Look at those challenges, consider accepting those challenges, and either drop in the comments if you're willing to share, or send me a message, let me know how you do. And I will see you next week. In the meantime, be well. Bye.